So I'm just going to go through the project that you'll be working with during the module. It's just called Shooting Range. You'll find it on Blackboard. In the lectures, I'll detail where that is. I just want to give you a quick overview of like the kind of assets that you're going to find in there, the maps, and basically what you should be doing when working with this project. So I think the first thing that we'll look at is over in the content browser. On the left hand side, I've color coded some of the folders. The blue one is obviously for blueprints, and I've put some example ones in there for you. And then this is kind of like the folder that you're probably using the most, okay? Because any blueprints that you'll be making, they should be all contained in here. It just means when it comes to marking, it just makes it a lot easier for me to find your blueprints. I'm not searching everywhere. Other two after that there are called first person and first person BP. Basically, I've stripped out anything that was in here that you really required and put it in the blueprints under character. So you'll find your first person character here, and the game mode and the HUD here as well. The maps are all found in the maps folder. You may find that they have these map build data registry files. Just ignore them. The orange kind of assets here are your maps. So we've got the shooting range, which I'll show you last, and you've got these tasks, okay, from task 1 up to task 6. And this is kind of like the area or the maps that you should be working on first to build up your skills in visual scripting, and then use those skills in the shooting range to kind of make a small prototype. After that, we've got materials. It is green, but to be honest, you probably won't be using it that much, okay? Not unless you wanted to make some scripting with certain materials. You can use the ones in here. We've also got meshes in here. So if you're building up a level or anything like that, or you want to add anything into your shooting range or in a blueprint, you can use these assets, okay? And then we've got particles, so these would be good for muzzle flashes, sparks hitting off where you've shot. We've got tracer bullets as well. So you can use all these here for your prototype too. And then the last one is in red, but there may come a time where you want to have your character switch weapons or anything like that. You can use the gun assets in here for that. And the pickup assets are also useful if you're doing ammo pickups. So we'll go back to the maps, and so the first map here is the one with the light, and all you have to do is create a function in light in here, which will be detailed in the task list document, which you can find on Blackboard. And then we've got one where you have to create a door. So there's a door in it, but you know, some of the tasks have extensions where, you know, if you find that pretty easy, you can go on to do an elevator and such after that. So once you've kind of done all these tasks, it should have built up enough skill for you to kind of tackle the shooting range. And the reason you really shouldn't go into this first is it's a bit more complicated. There's a lot more assets in here. It might be harder to navigate around. It could be overwhelmed just because there's that much stuff in it. For instance, you've got all these icons. If you press G though, you can get rid of those, and that's going into game mode. And if you want to maximize the viewport, you press F11 for that. Okay. So basically you have kind of two areas here. You've kind of got this average shooting range where you can hit targets, and then you've got the kind of main area, which is a slalom run, and this is kind of where most of your efforts should be focused on, okay, for your final ICA submission, where you have the player kind of running through this slalom or corridor and rooms where they have to get to the end, which is this green area over here, as quickly as possible, but they also have to shoot all the targets on the way there, okay? And it's up to you to program in, you know, the points tally, the shooting, the targets, anything else. Maybe you want to have the targets move so it's harder to shoot, adding in particle effects, that type of thing, to kind of make it a bit fun, okay, and more functional than it is. At the minute, all you can do is you can walk, okay. You've got a crosshair HUD. You've got a gun, doesn't function though. None of these doors function at all. The shooting range has no targets laid out in them, so you're going to have to do that. And there's no timer in the HUD at all, so you really don't know how long it'll take you to finish or how long it did take you to finish. And then, there is scope to add in additional functionality, that's not required, such as maybe a leaderboard. So there's a bit of a challenge there for people to come back and play it and try and get better. Or different types of targets as well, for higher scores and such. So this is the project that you'll primarily be using throughout the module. Just remember, you should always be consulting the ICA and your tutor when you're working on the tasks and the final shooting range.